Matthews here for KendallMatthews.com, where I uncover proven best practices for business and life, then share those secrets with friends like you. This is my summary on Mark Sanborn's book, You Don't Need a Title to Be a Leader. I would like to thank our sponsor of our book review show, HassleFree800.com, powered by Ring Central, the leaders in hosted phone systems, virtual PBX for your business, and where you can buy toll-free 800 numbers. Although this is a quick read, this book is filled with great quotes and thoughts on how important leadership is and how it can be implemented at any level in your professional and in your personal life. And you can be a leader without a title. Mark Sanborn wrote another powerful book called The Fred Factor, and this book is every bit as good. This is another must-read that you should add to your list and download to your Amazon Kindle or iPad. As is the case with all of these book reports, this is intended for you to get an idea of the content. Reading the book will enhance the ideas shared with you and is strongly recommended, of course. So please know that much of the content, when quoted, comes directly from the book, with all credit being given to the author for the information shared with you. In this book, Mark Sanborn, who is the author of The Fred Factor, shares how anyone, anywhere, can make a positive difference and how having a title does not determine if you're a leader. Leadership, he says, is influence. You don't need a title to be a leader in life, and the simple fact of having a title won't make you a leader. Are you a leader? And there's a couple bullet points he talks about. Do you shape your life and career? Do you affect the quality of others' experiences? Do you inspire or influence others? Do you work to achieve specific goals by working with or coordinating the efforts of others? Leadership expert John Maxwell describes leadership as a positive influence. States that people lead for different reasons. The one thing they have in common, however, is passion. Passion for life and what they do. The characteristics of a leader. Here's a couple of the bullet points. Number one, they believe they can positively shape their lives and careers. Number two, they lead through their relationships with people as opposed to their control over people. Number three is they collaborate rather than control. They persuade others to contribute rather than order them to. And they are able to get others to follow them out of respect and commitment rather than fear and compliance. Despite the popular myth, leaders, whether titled or untitled, they aren't born. They learn how to lead. Are you a leader? And you need to ask yourself this question. If you had no title or ability to reward or penalize others, could you still get them to follow you? Now, Mark lays out a couple bullet points for those who aspire to lead if you want. Main point is to take control of your life, make your organization better, seize new opportunities, improve the service your customers receive, influence others to be their best, solve problems, contribute to the betterment of others, and make the world a little bit better. One quote that I like, he talks about the longer the title, the less important the job. You never are going to get hired based on your title in and of itself. A job title's more useful information to your company and for how you feel you're viewed. In other words, a title is not a job description. The bottom line is influence and inspiration come from the person, not the position. When you do your job, any job, with initiative and determination to make a positive difference, you become a leader. There's a quote by Aaron Raphael McManus that states, if you're big enough for your dream isn't big enough for you. And people who lead, whether or not they have a title, strive to make things better. Aaron McManus went on to say that Sometimes being good isn't aiming high enough. We spend so much time worrying about our kids being good, not breaking the rules, getting into trouble, and basically behaving that we often forget to invite them to be great. There's another great quote that Mark Sanborn wrote in his book. You don't need a title to be a leader. It's fame is based on what we get in life, but true greatness is based on what we give in life. It is the contribution through action. Genuine leaders make themselves better not just for themselves, but for others, whether or not their contribution results in the financial reward or popular recognition. In leadership, ROI stands for relationships, outcomes, and improvements. Let me repeat that again. In leadership, ROI stands for relationships, outcomes, and improvements. Leadership is intimately linked to service. Customer service is about doing what you're supposed to do to help a customer. And there are 6 principles of leadership according to Mark Sanborn. They are the power of self-mastery, the power of focus, power with people, the power of persuasion communication, the power of execution, and finally, the power of giving. All leadership begins with self-mastery. To truly lead and make a difference in the world, you must always start with yourself. Is your work an obligation or an opportunity? If it's an obligation, you see the task at hand as something that needs to be done as quickly as possible without little regard to the outcome. If you see it as an opportunity, you don't interact with the world around you because you have to. You do it because you want to. Mark wrote that leaders, the titles or not, believe that how we live our life is a choice. Everyone needs money to survive. The problem occurs when making money is separated from giving purpose and meaning to our lives. The challenge for anyone is to make a life while making a living. The genuine, authentic leadership infuses meaning into your life because you know that your efforts count and that you're serving the needs of others as well. Mark says that people who lead are willing to do the hard work of finding out what their unique gifts and contributions are, then doing the even harder work of designing their lives around them. People who take an active leadership role in their lives tend to be good thinkers. Great leaders tend to be great thinkers. A great idea from the author is, and what Mark stated, was that when I'm home in Denver, I usually devote 15 to 30 minutes each afternoon to uninterrupted thought. He drives a couple of miles to the nearest Starbucks. He says, I don't take my cell phone. I bring only a pad and a pencil. I think about my business, the next speech I'm going to give, the arguments I want to present. Sometimes I think about ways I can be a better father, husband, or friend. Now here are 3 things that you can control. Number 1, you can't control your looks, but you can control your appearance. Number 2, you can't control how much talent you have in a given area, but you can control how much effort you expand to develop the talent you are born with. And number 3, you can't control your IQ, but you can control how well and how hard you think. Motivation refers to why we do what we do. It answers the question, what gives my life meaning? One of the quickest ways to burn out is to stop doing what you enjoy. The more successful you are, the greater the risk that you'll move into a position that will take you away from doing those things that you're really good at doing and really like to do. How do we keep ourselves motivated? Make time to reflect. Remember to dream. Mirror those who are successful around you. Retreat to advance. Review your life and the objectives at least once per year. Mentor somewhere else. Enjoy the journey. Live like a victor, not a victim. I want to read that. Live like a victor and not a victim. Mark also states that you need to search for the pony. If you receive a pile of manure, think positive. If there's a pile of manure, there has to be a pony nearby. The self-mastery index is the ratio between promises made and promises kept to yourself and to others. If your mouth keeps making promises that you can't keep, there is a great deal of room for improvement. Integrity, after all, is measured by the distance between your lips and your life. Spotting a problem is easy. Solving a problem is harder. It requires an act of leadership. And most people regret things they wish they had done rather than the things they wish they hadn't done. There is a long-term price for not following your heart, and you need to understand that. Energy and persistence conquers all things, according to Benjamin Franklin. Energy and persistence conquers all things. Focus and determination beat brains and intellect every time. You don't necessarily have to be smarter or better educated to succeed. Your power lies in your ability to focus on doing what is important. If you focus on the right things and work at them often, you will achieve exceptional results. Effective leaders, whatever their title, are able to keep themselves and those around them at task. In acting as a leader, you can handle just about anything that comes your way as long as you don't lose power and drift. Power in this sense is the ability to stay engaged in what is going on. It is the ability to engage the situation with intent, with focus. Drifting and waiting are very different things. Waiting is an intentional choice that requires patience and deliberation. Drifting takes away your power of choice. Mark wrote that in a recent study of knowledge workers found that they face a distraction every 11 minutes on average, and that once distracted, it takes them 25 minutes to get back on the task at hand. So you need to stay focused. You need an agenda. Your agenda is what you hope to accomplish in both the short term and long term. It means visualizing your final goal so that the to-dos move you closer to completion. To lead effectively, we can't wait for random events to help us achieve our goals. Our challenge is to plan to do things of significance and impact, and strategically pursue them. People who act successfully as leaders, whether their title, learn how to prioritize. You can't inject more time into your life. The challenge for all of us is to put more life into our time. Mark states that what 6 to 8 MVP activities gives you the biggest impact. Let me repeat that. What 6 to 8 MVP activities give you the biggest payback on your investment of time and energy. Develop a list, then spend 60 to 80% each day doing them. You still have 20 to 40% of each day to deal with interruptions, requests, putting out fires, and emergencies that you couldn't plan for. Leadership is the art of getting extraordinary performance from ordinary people. My favorite quote: "It's important to make people feel appreciated. It's even more important to let people know that there's someone who believes in them so much that he or she will not let them be less than they can be." People do things for their own reasons, not yours. Not all people will live up to your expectations, but while you may not get all that you hoped and or expected, you will always get more than you would have gotten otherwise. One of the greatest compliments you can be paid as a leader is to have someone say that you helped them be better than they thought they could be. Confront problems, not people. Getting the best out of others and helping others give their best is the very definition of people power. And here are 4 great collaborative questions to ask. What do you think we should do? What would you do if you were in my shoes? What opportunities are we missing? What information or ideas do you have that would be beneficial? Mark states that selling is simply helping people make decisions that is good for them. And there is a much easier and natural way to establish rapport. Ask yourself, what is the one thing I always have in common with another person or group of people? The answer is their best interest. When people know you're interested in their best interest and in helping them meet their needs, they will trust you. People who act as leaders care less about the impressions they make than the influence they exert on others to take positive action. Ask yourself, what do I want the person I'm communicating with to think and do when I'm done? To increase the odds of future success, why not feed forward? Provide people with the information they need to be successful before they undertake something. For example, feedback evaluates what has been done and is remedial. Feed forward clarifies expectations of what needs to be accomplished and is preventative. Let me repeat that. Feedback evaluates what has been done and is remedial. Feed forward clarifies expectations of what needs to be accomplished and is preventative. Everything you do has an impact. Your actions either help improve others or diminish others. Others observe your behavior and are influenced by it, either for the better or for the worst. And now here are 6 points of how leaders communicate. Others tell, leaders sell. Others impress, leaders influence. Others try to be heard, leaders strive to be understood. Others explain, leaders energize. Others inform, leaders inspire. Others relay only facts, leaders tell stories. The Gettysburg Address contains only 10 sentences and is one of the most powerful speeches in history. Great leaders are evaluated not on the length at which they speak, but on the impact of their message. So the question is, what are your 10 sentences as a leader? Successful leaders virtually always have a high IQ, and IQ is implementation quotient. Having good ideas isn't enough. You have to be able to implement them. Individuals who aren't successful in sales sometimes have a problem. They sit in training, but they never implement what they have learned. They do what is most pleasant, reading the materials, not what is most profitable. Intent without action is daydreaming. Mark Sanborn also stated that a bad decision well implemented is better than a brilliant decision not well implemented. There are 4 barriers to execution: paralysis by analysis, fear of failure, confusing talking with taking action, accepting explanations as excuses. According to General Peter Pace, one thing the Marine Corps teaches is that it's better to do something than doing nothing. If you stay where you are, you're in the position where your enemy wants you to be. If you start doing something, you are changing the rules of the game. Once you've got a plan and the resources you need, it's time to take decisive action. Remember, how you act will greatly influence the enthusiasm and commitment of others around you. Don't just act once. Keep on taking action until you succeed. Mark stated that the bungee cord experience, its jumping is not at all scary. The only scary part is thinking about jumping. Most of the things we fear in our lives are not nearly as scary as we imagine when we finally confront them. Mark Twain stated, "Let us endeavor to live that when we come to die, even the undertaker will be sorry." Everyone makes a difference. The choice we all have is whether we want to make a positive or negative difference. Don't confuse resume skills with leadership skills. And Mark states that mastering leadership is a lifelong process. We're all are works in progress. Each of our lives is a leadership lab. We don't need a title or an organization to lead. What we need is nothing more nor less than a burning desire to make a positive difference and an awareness of the opportunities to lead that present themselves each day at work, at home, with our friends and relatives, and within our communities. So the question is, what is your legacy? And the best evidence we can leave that we pass through life is to lead whenever we can. Leadership isn't a mysterious art practiced by only a select few. It is the daily response of every man and woman who wish to make a positive difference in the world and make it a little bit better place as a result of their efforts. Thanks for listening, and make sure you hit the like button and leave a comment with any aha moments that you had. Then follow me on Twitter at Kendall Matthews. And remember to focus on today, because yesterday could care less and tomorrow will take care of itself in this greatest nation on God's green earth.